Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the CNBC Africa special with myself, Fifi Peters. I must say that it does feel like a lifetime ago when we got together to launch the very first Durban Virtual July experience last year in a city that does promote itself as a tourism destination. Tourism is the lifeblood of KZN, South Africa's second largest economy, but as lockdowns still continue under this pandemic, innovation in tourism and hospitality are key factors to endure during these circumstances. So to protect as many jobs as possible, the eThekwini Municipality has launched the Durban July Grand experience, still under COVID-19 regulations. This is a campaign that aims to promote the city of Durban and its attractions as a safe tourist destination. It kicks off with the Vodacom Durban July, the biggest horse racing event in Africa, which will take place behind closed doors. It also includes initiatives to promote the fashion industry, the township economy, and the local enterprises. But to remind people of where to go and what the city has to offer, let's take a sneak peek at what I'm talking about. Well, as you have seen, Durban is surely a beautiful city. I can't recall the last time I actually was there. I think it was before the lockdowns, unfortunately. However, moving back to the order of the day, and that is the Vodacom Grand July experience. And as I did mention, the Vodacom Durban July itself will be taking place again behind closed doors to adhere to the strict COVID-19 regulations, especially as we have now been moved to alert level 3. Again, to ensure that tourism happens and it happens safely. But it also gives the event organizers time to put together an event that is befitting of the 125th running of this famous race. We're about to have a discussion that will unpack everything that you need to know about the VDJ 2021, as it is called on the streets, and also what the Durban July virtual experience will mean for the eThekwini Municipality itself. But before we get to talking about that, I'd like us to start the program by introducing our very first guest, who is joining us all the way from the Eden Champagne Garden in Morningside, Durban. And we are about to hear from Councillor Sipho Kaunda, the chairperson of the Economic Development and Planning Committee for eThekwini Municipality. Councillor Kaunda, good morning to you, sir. I'd like to hand over the mic to you there at the Eden Champagne to officially welcome this address and this event, of course, for us.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. His Worship the Mayor of eThekwini, Councillor Mxolisi Kaunda. Welcome to the launch of Durban July Grand Experience, which is celebrating its 20th of existence. This year, we are pleased to host the Durban July Grand Experience, VIP tourism experience of the city, and the Vodacom Durban July. This is where we showcase fashion, entertainment, local attraction to the rest of the world. With us currently facing the scourge of global pandemic, we have to find innovative way to present this VIP tourism experience, which has become the highlight in not only in the Durban calendar, but only in the international racing scene. Durban July is an international extravaganza which allows us to showcase our hidden gems and the premium events and entertainment venues. The mix of exclusive fashion, culinary cuisine, music, and of course, the horse racing put Durban on the map as a world-class destination. Ladies and gentlemen, none of these would have possible without the collaborations and partnership. These have been the recipe of our continued success in the tourism industry as municipality. We are particularly proud to be the sponsor of Race 6, which named the Durban Golden Horseshoe, which is run just before the main race. The horseshoe is considered very lucky. In the ancient time, it used to be hung in the homes to protect it and attract good fortunes for the rest of the family who reside in that particular homestead. We wish the same to the participants and revelers of the sporting fanfare. We would like to forge partnership. We've forged partnership with Golden Circle, Vodacom, CNBCA Africa, Durban Fashion Fair, to ensure that Durban July Grand Experience live up their reputation to razzling and dazzling those viewers visually and on-site. I know that many are curious to find out how the tourism industry is faring in this midst of this pandemic. Ours is to ensure that we create an enabling environment while upholding the safety requirements that have been set out by the national government in order to limit the spread of the pandemic. Approximately 90% of the restaurants are open, 80% of the hiking routes and venues are still functional, and 80% of the hotel are all open. Township tourism continue on an uphill trend in terms of the growth, with the sector contributing 5% towards the township city GDP. We continue enjoying the spoil of the interprovincial visitors, with Gauteng visitors having made up to 58% of the visitors over the Easter period. And of course, we always enjoy the huge contingency of the interprovincial travelers during the weekend of Durban July, who come and experience what our wonderful A-rated city has to offer. With those few words, I'll welcome you all to the launch and have that you enjoy the first taste of what promising to be a uniquely Durban July Grand Experience. You're all welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sipho Kaunda, the chairperson of the Economic Development and Planning Committee for the eThekwini Municipality. So I sure wish I was there with you enjoying the experience there of the Eden Champagne Lounge. But You know, we have to be cognizant of the times that we are still living in and try to practice safety as much as possible. But we're going back to Durban right now to hear from our next speaker who has the privilege of being there. She will be giving us the overview of Durban's July season campaign and the economic impact that the biggest horse racing event in Africa actually has on the City of Durban's tourism sector. Winile Mtungwa, the Deputy Head of Durban Tourism. Winile, good morning. Of course, I haven't seen you since the last time I was in Durban, and that last time was before the lockdown. And I'm just wondering if you are ready just to address us at this stage on this entire experience and, of course, what it does mean for tourism in your city.
Thank you, Fifi. Greetings. It's been a long time indeed, but we are back again here for the Durban July, our biggest experience in the year. So just to start off, recognizing His Worship the Mayor of eThekwini, yourself as the Program Director, our sponsors, title sponsor Vodacom, as well as Gold Circle, the partners of eThekwini Municipality, the tourism sector, because we are in this together as we are on the journey of the recovery, and the viewers as well as the world at large. So for us as Durban, it's important that to thrive, we forge such partnerships to continue to achieve significant impact as a city. So the investment in the city's future, as we are on our economic recovery journey, is that we achieve the positioning of Durban as a premium and leisure destination of South Africa, particularly that now during the COVID, we are focusing on the domestic market with the restrictions on the international travel. So as Durban, we have adopted innovative marketing strategies because COVID is a new normal and we need to be innovative to make sure that we are still #1 destination, tourism destination. So we have focused on attracting domestic visitors, and our efforts have indeed yielded a massive impact. This was evident on the recent Easter season of our 2021, where there were a lot of visitors that came to Durban, and there was huge occupancy and spend from the visitors that came. So as the City of Durban, from the efforts of roadshows in the different parts of the country, and in 4 provinces, 6 cities, we've been continuing to promote the destination with packages as well as products that people can come and experience in Durban safely, so that we protect tourism and limit the spread of the coronavirus. Now, our partnerships continue with the creative industry because that sector has also been hard hit, and that is part of what we will be doing here in the Durban July, to work with our tourism partners, the creative industry, the fashion, as well as the community, in terms of encouraging visitors to go and visit our hidden gems. So the Durban July Grand Experience presents the city with an opportunity to showcase some of its activities, furthermore, a holistic travel experience. So because of the regulations, we are not able to have, the massive numbers in closed doors. So the Durban July experience is going to be dispersing to different tourism products in different, tourism nodes, where we encourage our visitors to go and experience the Vodacom Durban July. As previously, we would have hospitality marquees at Braesville Racecourse, but this time, the plan is to have key attractions, restaurants, tourism nodes, having the July experience of the fashion, the food, the music, entertainment within the Durban July fever. So furthermore, it's also to encourage visitors to say Durban is open for business. There's hiking sites, our museums, our art galleries, the warm water beaches, and also the coastal experience. As part of demonstrating that we take our visitors seriously, in December 2020, Durban was awarded 12 Blue Flag status, which is part of a road to recovery, because it's all about demonstrating that Durban is promoted as a fresher and cleaner destination. So for us, in terms of the experiences that we have, it's in anticipation for the visitors to be coming to Durban. We anticipate different numbers as part of boosting the economy in terms of our visitors to generate employment and contribute to the GDP. So our GDP projection is actually over 2 billion, and what we actually envisaged last year was much lower than that. So that demonstrates that we are on our road to recovery. So in conclusion, Fifi, I would like to just summarily indicate that the message for the visitors is actually to say they must visit Durban. Durban is a premium destination, and we are going to be offering them a memorable experience where they can recreate their memories as families, as friends, as different groups. And we're going to be showcasing our fashion through our Durban Fashion Fair program, as well as the food through our different restaurants which are highly compliant with the COVID regulations, as well as the entertainment through our different creative industry. And the race, particularly, they can experience this via virtual as there's restrictions in terms of gatherings for the race course. So on that note, I'd like to just elaborate that more is going to be unpacked by our partners, Gold Circle, the fashion, Durban Fashion Fair, as well as representative of business, as we are in this together in terms of collaborating to give a memorable experience for the Durban Vodacom July experience as the City of Durban. Thank you very much.
And thank you to you, Winile. A nice applause for her on the ground, of course, and quite an encouraging message coming out that the GDP of Durban is currently exceeding expectations at around 2 billion rand this time around, beyond what was initially forecast, as that city, like the rest of the economy, like the rest of the world, tries to forge its road to recovery. But at this point, I would like to introduce our panel of experts who will be taking us through what this year's Durban July has in store for you, and how the City of Durban is planning to make this event a part of its annual attraction over 100 years on. So let me introduce you to the panelists. Stephen Marshall, Events and Marketing Executive at Gold Circle. Fezile Mdleche, founder of Fezile Fashion Skills Academy. Mal Ndombela, Deputy Chair of the Durban Chamber of Commerce. Chris Lazarus, Managing Executive for Vodacom, who is joining us via Zoom. And of course, Winile is going to join us once again to participate in this discussion. Good morning to all the speakers and all the panelists. I mean, I am aware that there are some familiar faces that are joining us once again this year, but I'm also aware that we've got new viewers that are certainly wanting to know a little bit more about who the people are that are addressing them. So as an opening remark, could I ask each speaker just to introduce themselves to us very briefly, and more importantly, introduce the role that they will be playing in the Durban July Grand experience. And Stephen, perhaps if I can begin with you, sir.
Thanks, Fifi. Marketing executive of Gold Circle. At Gold Circle, we are the horse racing operator here in KwaZulu-Natal. So we run the Vodacom Durban July event on behalf of the sponsors and partners of the event. My role in that is literally just to make sure that the event goes off without a hitch. Obviously, this year and last year, we've been thrown a few curveballs, and obviously we have to manage those and deliver this event so that our sponsors and partners get their value out of the Vodacom Durban July, because it's not just about the horse race. As we know, the core pillars of this event are the horse racing, it's also the fashion, it's also the entertainment, and a massive part of what goes on around this event is supporting the fashion industry in KwaZulu-Natal and the artists, the entertainment industry as well. And we obviously in a normal year would attract a lot of people to KwaZulu-Natal over this July period, with the Vodacom Durban July being an integral part of the city's of Durban's tourism campaign. So, you know, we have a part to play in the greater campaign for the City of Durban as well.
Certainly, I mean, those curveballs are the reason why I'm not joining you face to face, and Chris is joining us once again via Zoom. So Chris, just a brief introduction to our audience and the role that Vodacom will be playing in the VDJ 2021.
Thank you, Fifi, for once again having me via Zoom. Yes, as you know, we've been associated with this for close to 2 decades, if not over 2 decades. So very proud of that association. And yeah, really our role here is to make sure that the investment and more the partnership that we have with Gold Circle and at large the city and the leadership of the city in everything that we're trying to do, because I think by now everybody knows that yes, the Vodacom Durban July is about partly the glitz and glamour, but for us, it transcends that. It really transcends the social divide, which is part of what we're trying to fight against in the city and beyond. So ours is really to make sure that on the one hand, we support all of the initiatives of this partnership, and on the second, that we really also ensure that all the brand principles that we stand for as a brand is connected, and that's really about connecting and changing the lives of people in the city of Durban, the province of KZN, and even beyond that.
And Mel, you are a new face that we are speaking with at the second virtual Durban July experience for this year. So please, an introductory remark from you, sir.
Good morning, Fifi, and good morning to your viewers as well. Thank you for welcoming me as well. I'm Mel from Durban Chamber of Commerce and Industry, like you said. My role as Durban Chamber, or our role as Durban Chamber, is organized businesses. Ours is to make sure that the businesses are able to, leverage from the Durban July, because when we were locked down earlier last year, we realized that one of the most important things that we needed to do to recover was marketing as businesses, and through this Durban July, we are able to do that as businesses. We are able to market our businesses and region through this old event. So that is what, as organized businesses, will be focusing on, especially around the Durban July.
And lastly, Fezli, we've heard up until this point quite a lot about how the Durban July in itself is a gateway to all the other activities that will be happening around it. And one of them, of course, being to promote the local fashion industry. So tell us a bit about yourself and the role that you'll be playing in this year's event.
Good morning, Fifi, and good morning to everyone at home. My name is Fezile, and I'm the founder of Fezile Fashion Skills Academy, which is the first fashion school based in a township in Guamashu. My role today, and with the city of eThekwini at large, I'm a mentor for the Durban Fashion Fair Fashion Mentorship Program. So today what we'll be seeing is the group that I mentored last year alongside my team. They'll be showcasing today. So we can expect a lot of newness in terms of the fashion at large, young designers that are really pushing the envelope and are bringing new messages of fashion, such as gender-neutral statements, very Afrofuturistic elements, so very fresh. They are doing big things. They were also part of designing the 2020 Olympic kit for Team South Africa, and I've just seen now that one of them was featured on Forbes Africa. So these are young movers and shakers that I've been very blessed by the city to mentor. So yeah, expect big things. And also their translation of Birds of a Feather, which is this year's Vodacom Durban July theme. It's going to be quite interesting in terms of how they've translated that today.
I certainly look forward to all the creativity coming from our local fashion designers on exactly how they will showcase their understanding of what birds of a feather means in the garments. But nonetheless, let us get going with the discussion. And Winila, I won't ask you to introduce yourself, as we have had a wonderful opening remark from you and exactly where you lie with regards to your expectations from this event. What I will ask you to do, however, is to lead us in the opening questions. And the first question that I have from you is a question about lessons learned. This is the second time that the Durban July is being showcased virtually. So perhaps let's look back at what happened last year, the lessons learned from last year, and what you are hoping to achieve as organizers this time around and do differently.
Okay, thank you, Fifi. Absolutely. Reflecting from last year, firstly, COVID was a shocker to all of us. We had to actually think on our feet. So what we had was a totally virtual July in terms of not much travel to the different products, tourism products, and experiencing those products. But this time around, because there's more relaxation in terms of the regulations, we have actually expanded in terms of offering the experience of the July. Last year was more about keeping the brand alive. This year, it's about bringing now the experience in terms of the July, which will be, instead of happening within one big venue of Greyville, it will be happening, we want to say people must, we want to give an experience to people in different tourism nodes, whether it's Florida Road, it's Chattel Drive, working our business in terms of restaurants and any other spaces that are tourism related, even in the townships and the rural, where there's hospitality there, where we are saying, let's take the experience of the July, the fashion, the entertainment, the food, still, but take it within smaller venues that are going to execute it within the compliance of the regulations. Also, building from what we had last year, we, as the City of Durban, and thanks to our partners, there's been a lot of business expansion from the different restaurants, including the townships, where businesses have sort of reinvested in their products to make sure that they are able to give a different new experience, because visitors and travelers, they want something new, something fresh. So as Durban, it's important for us to demonstrate that and be on the move. So we actually thank our products for that, and they've actually sort of expanded and up their game in terms of making sure that as we're going onto the July fever, we're going to be having that experience, a different, a new, fresher experience, because it's not ideal to just be stagnant. So for us as the City of Durban, those are the key lessons, and more than anything, it's also to say within the different attractions that we have, there is also some new packages that people can experience, and we are adding that into the itinerary of people to come to Durban during the July experience, not only within the backdrop of the race, but also just exploring Durban within that period. Also, we are going to be giving some pop-up entertainment in various nodes, which are our parks, so that people, they don't converge into one place. Wherever you are, be it the promenade, the 8-kilometer promenade, there will be pop-up entertainment, so that as people experience and explore the promenade, they're able to just have that, fun, excitement, entertainment, as well as within the whole coastal, starting from up north, from Mdloti Mhlanga to Central, going down to the south, up until as far as Toti. So those are the key things for us to say. We want to give the visitors something new, something fresh, something different, not to say we have done this before, what is new. So those are the key things that we have sort of learned in terms of bringing an unforgettable, memorable experience to our visitors.
Last year about survival, this year is about renewal and freshness. I don't want to be a party pooper at this point, but I think it would be remiss for me not to mention the fact that we've just come from a family meeting. And in that family meeting, we were told that our COVID-19 cases currently are rising at an alarming rate. We were told that the number of people being admitted to hospitals are also increasing at a worrying rate, as is the current number of people who are unfortunately losing their lives. So Mal, as you continue what Fezile has painted for us in terms of the Durban July virtual experience and all the new things and exciting things that you have brought on the table this time around, just run us through practically how all of those activities will be taking place in a safe manner that doesn't help continue the spread of the current third wave in the presently alarming rate.
Okay, thanks again, Fifi. No, as businesses or as Destination Durban, I think the only thing that we've been doing since we were declared as a disaster and the subsequent lockdown after that was to prepare for opening, because we were hoping that the travel will come back again. So that's the only thing we've been doing. One of the things that we did as the destination together with government was to actually roll out massive awareness campaigns and to teach our businesses about the safety protocols that they needed to implement in their businesses. We also assisted a lot of small businesses, especially those in the townships and in the rural areas, those who couldn't really afford to get the sanitizers or get the signage. So we really prepared the businesses. Even the big businesses also, they were prepared to make sure that they adhere to the COVID-19 regulations. Like I said, it's the only thing that we've been doing since we were locked down, because there was not really much business activity going on. So as business in Durban or as a destination, we've always been ready. I think when the last year's installment of the Durban July was actually staged virtually, we were excited because there were some activities that happened around that time, and it gave us an opportunity to really take the training out there and really make sure that what we've taught people, they were actually using it, and the awareness campaigns, it had worked and all that. But we are ready as tourism and as businesses in Durban.
And Mal, just to come back to you to finish that off, I imagine that the city would have put in place quite strict levels of compliance to ensure that all businesses, toe the line and don't engage in behavior at the expense of costing lives.
Yes, Fifi, there are stringent measures to make sure that we monitor our businesses, because, if one business is actually failed to adhere to the COVID-19 and then something happens or they become a super spreader, it's not just detrimental to their businesses alone, but it affects the whole destination. So as a city, as you know, we have a Durban chamber that organize businesses for the entire destinations. But besides that, we also have CTOs, 9 of them in the city, and they also assist in those efforts to make sure that the businesses adhere to the COVID-19 regulations, and not just in the affluent in the affluent areas or in the city, but also in the far-flung areas like your townships and the rural areas. So we do have measures in place to ensure that we don't become a super spreader sector.
All right. Okay. Stephen, to come to you, because last year, as Winile did point, it was about survival and there was a lot of trials and tests. And I recall particularly the backlash that was received from the Durban July that tried to bring the VIP marquee experience to people's living rooms. Of course, this backlash came at the prices that was being charged to enjoy this experience at a time when a lot of people were losing their jobs and at a time when a lot of people weren't even working. So this time around, what can we expect, or what can those expect who will be joining the Durban July virtually and even physically? What can they expect from this year's event?
Thanks, Fifi. I think what we've got to appreciate that this event is built on three core pillars, racing being one of them. Obviously, it's the 125th running this year of Africa's greatest horse race. But as importantly, are fashion and the entertainment industry. Hospitality, tourism, those sectors have probably been hardest hit in that they haven't been able to recover through the three different waves that we've had of COVID. And, the hospitality sector where, we used to seeing 45,000 people being entertained at Hollywood Bettsgrave Racecourse. Those guys last year, there was nothing. Literally, it went from everything to nothing. So, those guys are obviously going to try and keep their businesses afloat. As you mentioned, there were proposals and certain promoters who went about trying to capitalize on creating a safe at-home event. That's ultimately what they were trying to do. But at the time, it was a short period of time that all of that had to come together. Because if you remember last year, the Vodacom Durban July was delayed until the end of July. This year, it's back to its traditional spot at the beginning of the July. So, this year it's going to be a broadcast event. There's going to be very few people on course, only enough to make sure that the event can go ahead, the essential personnel. Obviously, the President's speech moving us to level lockdown 3 this week, we need to take cognizance of all the safety protocols, the regulations that need to be adhered to. And for the event organizers, safety is always paramount of paramount importance. We have safety and security meetings even pre-COVID, and last year and this year, obviously, we need to take cognizance of the regulations that are in place and to make sure that we make sure that the event is delivered in a safe manner. Saying that, the broadcast, we have host broadcaster DSTV, who will be broadcasting the event on the 3rd of July from 1 o'clock through to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It will cover the main race, which is around about 3:10. It's on SuperSport 4, that's channel 204 on DSTV. We're looking to do a live stream so that we can reach, obviously, a wider audience as well. And, we are going to have the entertainment. The fashion is already underway. We have a number of programs which we are collaborating with the city. We have the 3 categories of fashion designers involved this year. That's the Vodacom Durban July Young Designer Awards, which has the students and college design students involved in a competition. This year we've gone full circle. We have a previous Vodacom Durban July Young Designer winner in Lara Kalkowski, who's now coming back on the 3rd tier as an invited designer. And in between that as well, we have the Durban Fashion Fair Rising Stars collection, which is a collaboration with the City of Durban and the programs that they are deeply involved in. So, we have the fashion side of it, the entertainment side this year, as Winile mentioned. There will be pop-ups happening, pop-up events, but those will adhere to the safety protocols in place and the COVID regulations. That is of paramount importance to all of the event organizers, partners, and sponsors. So this year, we are encouraging people to enjoy the broadcast, to have a look at our social media handles at Vodacom Durban July on Facebook, to log on to our website, vodacomdurbanjuly.co.za. All of the pictures, the live streams of the Gateway Fashion Show, which will incorporate all 3 levels of our designers this year. So there will be a show on the 29th of June. The public will be able to log on to our live stream of that event on the evening of the 29th. And then, to enjoy the event, whether it's at home, whether it's here in Durban at one of the pop-up events, we just encourage people to stay safe and enjoy this year's event in the form of the broadcast.
Right. And Stephen, you mentioned collaborations, and perhaps let's go into that theme right now. And Chris, to bring you back in, as you did highlight, this is the 20th anniversary or so that Vodacom has been a key partner of the Durban July, and just talk to us about that collaboration, why it has lasted so long, and perhaps the importance of such a collaboration for Vodacom with their Tikwini municipality.
Thank you. I think over the years we've come to understand that VDJ, as it's commonly known to many of us, has transcended beyond just horse racing, and in fact. It's even transcended even just beyond the fashion. And I think we've come to know that, what the strategic vision that the city leadership has in advancing certainly Durban. We want to be a part of that. We want to be able to invest in that, partner with that. And that's why this journey has been so important, that yes, we've taken an event like horse racing, a sporting investment amongst others that we have, and we've been able to capitalize and build on that. When you look at some of the strategic pillars of Vodacom, as we go from being a traditional mobile company to a full-on technology company on the back of wanting to be a purpose-led company and making statements like not wanting to leave anybody behind. When we look at some of the benefits that the 4IR, and you often hear the leadership of our city and the province talking about 4IR. And when you come to understand what they want as the objectives and outcomes, for us, this event, VDJ, has actually then become a platform that we've been using together with them, as well as our partnership with Gold Circle and others, to build upon that. So I think a lot of people see VDJ, they see the glitz and glamour, but we've been able to, over the years, see a lot more beyond that. And that speaks highly to some of the pillars that we talk about as our company at Vodacom. So I think that's why this has been such a great and a natural fit, and it's been able to continue for such a long time. And even with the challenges that COVID-19 presented to us, if I take some of the comments of Stephen and what happened last year, a totally responsible way in which I myself was present there last year, and total responsibility around obviously observing all the protocols as instructed to us by our own risk areas. So yeah, very comfortable from that perspective as well, that we're working with a very, very set of responsible partners in both the city and Gold Circle.
Yeah, certainly. And the partnerships, of course, extending to the fashion industry, as we have heard so far. Fezile, a big congratulations to you for opening up a fashion school there in the township economy. But just perhaps to speak more broadly about this partnership with Durban Fashion Fair Rising Stars. Tell our viewers a bit more about this program and also what to anticipate this year.
Thank you, Fifi. All right. So the Durban Fashion Fair Mentorship Program is a program obviously funded by the city of eThekwini, and it seeks to coach, mentor, and develop aspiring young designers in technical and creative and business skills. So it basically looks at taking zeros and making them heroes. So I started being part of it last year, and I worked with the class of 2020, the guys that will be showcasing today. It's not all the guys, it's some of the guys. We'll be seeing 8 today. And pretty much it's an intense, the way Fezile Fashion Skills Academy does it is, it's quite an intense program that happens on campus, where designers are basically assessed, their capabilities from 1 to 10, from basic, intermediate, and advanced. And they are then trained according to their needs under the main skills that I've said, which are creative, technical, and business. And then they go off to showcase, normally last year it was their own standalone show at the ICC, their various talents. This is also an opportunity for them to launch their careers for the first time in the industry. And it brings about great opportunity for them, because normally a lot of them are either self-taught or some of them are straight from college. So all of them normally wouldn't have had exposure to market access opportunities like the runway. So, and then obviously they did go off to do the styles that they will be showcasing today, which is a semi-DFF continuation program. They worked on the theme Birds of a Feather. So that's what we'll be seeing today. We are going on to do class of 2021. So the program is pretty similar. It's intense, it's on campus. They are provided with all the equipment. They are also supplied with fabric to do the collections. So a literal skills development program that is funded by the city. That's what I'm part of. So I'm excited to what we're going to see today with the 8 designers that are going to be showcasing. I haven't had a peek at what they will be presenting, so I'm quite keen to see how they've translated the theme Birds of a Feather.
I think we are all quite keen to see that, Safezile. We'll have to just patiently wait. But to the panel, I'd like for us to move on to the road to recovery, as it were. And Winile, you started this point in terms of talking about the current level, the current GDP level of the city and how it is currently exceeding forecasts. We know that there's a lot of plans currently on the table and that have been put forward to your key stakeholders. So perhaps talk to us about the tourism recovery plan, the reception that you have received from your stakeholders so far, and also what the anticipated outcomes of these plans are.
Thank you, Fifi. Just to indicate that since last year, like immediately last year when the COVID epidemic happened, the city put together an economic recovery plan which included tourism as a pillar of the economic recovery plan in terms of restarting tourism. So zooming into tourism, one of the key factors was about increasing funding for our community tourism organizations, which there are 9 of them within the region of the city, to actually, enhance their marketing and tourism development within their regions. So in that regard, that has actually yielded positive results simply because there had been additional financial resources that were put into the regions to help the community tourism organizations as they support their businesses to recovery in terms of within their regions. The other pillar just to mention is a program called the Tourism Investment Africa, which talks to retaining and business retention and business expansion, where in terms of assisting businesses within the tourism industry, because a lot of them, they were hard hit, to actually, in terms of empowerment and intervention strategies, to pick them up to be able to retain and expand rather than closing down. And that has actually yielded positive results because those interventions have translated to businesses actually staying open, changing their strategies, changing their business models to actually align with what COVID actually requires. One of the things that I mentioned above in terms of, the transformation of businesses is particularly, the reinvestment to businesses, including the high ventilation, because COVID is all about limiting congestion and social distancing. So those has been as a result of these interventions of new, strategies from business experts in terms of helping the businesses to turn around their businesses. Talking about the Tourism Investment Africa program, at the end of this July, on the 29th, there will be a tourism investment symposium, which is also about, having lobbied some potential investors to reinvest into tourism businesses, because funding is very important for many businesses right now within the tourism sector. The government fund is inadequate, so any funding from other investors that can actually be sourced is very, it goes a long way. So the other factors that we've actually had in terms of the road to recovery, in as far as the destination is concerned, is the factors of the rates rebates for businesses in relation to, businesses being able to apply to be converted from commercial rates to residential rates, and that actually helped helps with alleviating the burden for businesses in terms of, the cash flow. So that is an ongoing, a program that the city is embarking on, and businesses are indeed taking advantage of that. The other thing just to mention is to unpack that tourism is abroad. It's not only within, the hospitality. There's many other businesses within the value chain of tourism. As we speak here today, it's a tourism vehicle, but there's many other businesses. We've got artists, people in the creative, people in the, technical system. So the different programs that we have done as the City of Durban, and also within the regulations, has actually assisted those businesses to take advantage of rejuvenating themselves in the road to recovery. As Durban, the City of Durban, again, within the creative, because the creative is a very critical component within the tourism value chain, the city has embarked on a recovery program whereby since last year we've had different platforms of many local artists of Durban being part of, the program of beneficiation in various programs of performance, of, activations, virtually and otherwise. And that will be continuing because the artist sector, considering that the gatherings are not allowed, they are the ones that have been actually hard hit as well in the process of the COVID. So there is many, programs that are actually in the pipeline for us as the tourism. And as we actually move to more tighter conditions, we are re-engineering our strategies to make sure that the businesses within the tourism, they are able to be kept, alive and sustained, and we, avoid more job losses. For as visitors come in, rather have visitors than have no, visitors within the establishments. So, Fifi, there is those activities within the recovery plan, and more re-engineering is in the pipeline as we, focus what the scenarios of the future are likely to be from a tourism perspective.
Yes, because and I'd like to actually tell the audience that we will be taking questions very soon, so you can just prepare to enter our Q&A session. There might be questions that you have in attending this morning. And before we get to that, in preparing for the various scenarios that we could still face as a nation, the present scenario currently is the fact that South Africa remains on the red list of many countries outside and in the rest of the world, making international travel very difficult at this point in time, both to and from. And Mal, perhaps if you just add to the comments that Winile has mentioned about the Durban's recovery plan, and talk honestly with us about the impact that international tourism, still being quite sluggish, may have on some of the targets that you've set for the recovery.
No. Yes, thanks again, Fifi. Yes, being on the red list, it really affects our industry, like you said, from people who are coming in and out of the country. Remember, there's a lot of work that has been done to try and get people to our city by organizations such as Durban Direct. Remember that we had a flight that was coming from Germany, not Germany, from London, which is our main source market, straight to Durban. And when we were put on a red list there by UK, it meant that that flights had to be cancelled. Not really cancelled, but it couldn't bring people to our city. So we have been affected by that. But we have been removed on that red list, which we're hoping it's gonna yield some results, because people will be able then to travel to our city. And like I said before, we are ready for people who are coming in, because we have prepared for them. We have prepared not just the businesses, but we also prepared the communities that live around those businesses, to say when tourists do come, make sure that they see us, that we are ready. We adhere to the rules and the regulations of COVID-19. So yes, the red list, it did affect us as the sector, but we're hoping going forward
it's going to get better. Chris, just, I imagine that you're quite used to having your door knocked on as a private sector in terms of the Build Back Better message that you did highlight, and also Vodacom's own ethos of wanting to drive inclusive growth a lot more. So as we talk about the road to recovery of the tourism sector, perhaps you can highlight the role that Vodacom will play along this journey.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, just calling out the whole purpose-led as part of our ethos and our culture. And we can't do that up in the universe. We've got to do that on the ground where our partners and the people of our various communities are connected. So if I take us back to 2019, which still brings smiles certainly to my face and warms my heart. As late as last night, I somehow got onto the Facebook page of a school up in the Valley of 1,000 Hills called Shlalindela. And what we did there at the time of the July, because we wanted to build on the glitz and the glamour and connect with people that often would not see what happens at VDJ. And that then resulted in a huge program around Code Like a Girl. And we would have done the same thing last year, but obviously with not understanding some of the protocols and the risks, we decided not to do it down that time. And we deferred that to later in the year. And I'm actually very proud to say that we increased the number of 75 in 2019, 300 girls that we brought as the back. And why is this important? Because it's important that we build on the skill in making our province attractive. The very reason why people want to jump on a plane, be it for personal reasons or be it for business interests. If we look at the work that's been done by colleagues that's responsible for promoting the economic benefits of our city, again, we play a role there in making sure that we are established in terms of the skill set. I often say that you can't get to the internet and everything else that you have without a good internet connection. So that's really our purpose in this year, is to making sure that we connect lives, and not connect lives in terms of the connection from a telecommunications perspective, in that we're enhancing the skills that the city has to offer in tourism and beyond. In fact, Fifi, one of the things that we decided to do this year, and you're right, many people knock on our door, and it certainly breaks my heart from a personal perspective that I can't say yes to everything that we want to do. And we try and say yes to as many things possible, even if we do it in small bite-sized chunks. And this year, we decided on some of the money that we would have done to other courses. We thought, why not spend some of the money that we have available this year? There's a lot of students in the fashion industry that have come to understand that we're unable to almost complete their graduation process or certification because of the inability to pay their fees. And we decided, well, if we connect all the dots that we've been talking about, and other members of this platform today have been talking about, why look further than just this community and the fashion part? So one of the things that we're going to be doing is obviously identifying those students, some of the institutions where they're from, all of it KZN based. So that's important to us as part of this initiative, and help them pay, if not pay, all of those tuition fees that they've been struggling with. And that's some of the commitment that we've been driving or looking to drive now as part of this initiative, and of how we give back and further help our partners on the objectives that a lot of them have been talking about today.
All right. Oh, Chris, thanks for that. Just lastly, Stephen, as we do continue to talk road to recovery, I mean, I imagine that the horse racing industry in itself has been quite a hard hit in the last year or two. But we have seen this year certain parts of the economy bouncing back from last year's recession, and doing so quite strongly. So talk to us about how you see the industry, and when you do see the horse racing industry turning the corner, as it were.
Fifi, the horse racing industry definitely has taken quite a hard hit. A clear indication of that is the stakes on offer, which previously didn't cover owning a racehorse. It really is the sport of kings. To own a racehorse is an expensive hobby. It's not something which even the guys who are winning the Vodacom Durban July, which is the highest stake in the country of 2 million rand this year, those guys, many of them will have quite a lot of horses in training, and winning that stake won't even cover the costs that they will incur for all the other horses that they have in their yard. So, yeah, whilst we'd like to think that the stakes go a long way to making this a viable form of entertainment for many owners, the harsh reality is that if you add up all the stakes that are on offer in South Africa and compare it to the cost of training racehorses and all the ancillary services like the veterinary fees and feed and things like that, it doesn't come anywhere close to covering all those costs. So there is a redistribution there. There's an employment of some 10,000 people in the horse racing industry, from breeders through to trainers through to the operators, to keep this industry alive. And from racing's perspective, we've had a problem of declining revenues from betting for a number of years now. We've looked to diversify the business, but this kind of an event with the Vodacom Durban July, whilst in a normal year it is a profit-making event for Gold Circle. Gold Circle essentially is a non-profit organization. We custodians of the sport of horse racing in KwaZulu-Natal. It's our mandate to sustain the sport of horse racing in KwaZulu-Natal, and everything that is earned is put back into the industry, and to support all of those people who rely on this industry to put food on the table.
Yeah. You know, I'm reluctant to say that perhaps, this time next year things will be a lot better. I was reminded by Chris that I said that at last year's discussion on the virtual Durban July experience, and then this year we were greeted with all sorts of new variants that have actually made things a lot worse for many people in many corners. But I think given the scale of the horse racing industry and the number of people that do rely on it for livelihoods, I hope that things do get better soon, Stephen, and of course that private sector and government initiatives are in place to ensure that the road to recovery in that industry specifically is accelerated. But we're going to pause the discussion for now. We will be taking your questions, so please do keep them prepared. We will open up the floor in just a short while. But first, let us hear from His Worship. That is the Mayor, Councillor Mxolisi Kaunda, who will give us the keynote address.
Thank you very much, Fifi, for having us in your program and steering this ship to the correct direction. Chairperson of Economic Development in our municipality, Councillor Sipho Kaunda, the Economic Development Whip, Councillor Kwabe, Deputy City Manager of Durban Tourism, Ms. Swinile Mtungwa, Managing Director, Executive Director for Vodacom, Chris Lazarus, Events and Marketing Executive for Gold Circle, Mr. Stephen Marshall, Panel Judge and Mentor for the Durban Fashion Show School, Ms. Fezile Mdleje, Mr. Mel Ntombela, the Deputy Chair of Durban Chamber of Commerce Tourism Chapter, the Chairperson of Community Tourism Organizations, Mr. Chris Pili, as well as Mr. Tembe, who also joined us. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, good morning. On behalf of people of eThekwini Municipality, we want to convey our appreciation to our partners and sponsors for joining us in this auspicious event of the launch of this year's edition, the Africa's greatest horse racing event. Once again, we hold Durban July Grand Experience under difficult circumstances as the world continues to fight the scourge of COVID-19 pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, rebuilding tourism and hosting events during this period requires innovation to ensure that while people cannot experience our tourism products physically, they can be able to consume them virtually. This is what we committed ourselves to do when we launched our economic recovery plan last year, to revive economic sectors that have been adversely affected by COVID-19. Ladies and gentlemen, as the leadership of this municipality, we have identified sports as an important instrument to position Durban as a preferred venue for international events. We are pleased that over the years, we have been able to offer this experience to our citizens, domestic guests, and our international tourists. From the cycling community to runners along our promenade, sports has shaped the city and contributed meaningfully to the building of our tourism industry. What makes this year's Durban July Grand Experience even more significant is that we celebrate 20 years of this magnificent horse racing event in our city. This is a huge milestone, not only for the people of eThekwini, but for Africa as a whole. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know that the power of Durban July Grand Experience lies in the economic impact the event has for this city. Before COVID-19, this event generated more than 300 million rands to our GDP. This massive economic injection can be ascribed to the increased numbers of local and international visitors to our shores during the weekend of this spectacular event, who normally book themselves in luxury accommodation and use our restaurants and other packages and the gems of eThekwini. As the municipality, we have sought to maintain this economic impact through effective collaborations and partnership. It is through these collaborations that Durban has consistently received accolades at the World Travel Awards for being Africa's leading event host in as well as a category which have once again been nominated for in 2021. We are committed to continue to create an enabling environment for public-private partnership to revive our tourism sector. Ladies and gentlemen, early this year, the city hosted a dialogue to consult with industry players about efforts to reignite the tourism sector following the devastating impact of COVID-19. Our discussions centered around the competitive advantages we have as a city that can help revive the tourism sector. Ladies and gentlemen, these endowments include the Golden Mile, which has clean and safe beaches with blue flag status, about 12 of them, state-of-the-art conference venues, cultural heritage, outdoor adventure, and sport tourism. Collectively, we want to tap into these competitive advantages and reimagine tourism post-COVID-19. Our newly established eThekwini Economic Council is currently seized with this responsibility and task that we are beginning to see progress and we are yielding positive results out of that. A fact that we cannot run away from is that in the face of this global pandemic, it will take time for tourism sector to realize its full recovery. However, we will not allow this to dampen our spirits. We will soldier on and use the resources we have at our disposal to deliver these world-class events, which also provides a platform for up and coming fashion designers in our municipality, especially targeting young people, the youth of our country, the future leaders of this country. Some of these emerging designers are part of our fashion development programs, which has for the first time enabled these designers to produce the South African Olympic team kit for the upcoming Tokyo Olympics. It has never been done, but it's done here in this city by young people of this city. We congratulate them for that milestone. Let us continue to work together to build the tourism industry and create jobs in our municipality. We are optimistic that vaccine rollout program will help us accelerating the recovery of our economy as a country. With these remarks, ladies and gentlemen, we say we are ready to host and entertain our visitors for the Durban July Grand Experience. Durban is indeed open and ready for business. Enjoy yourself, enjoy your stay in this warmest city and the greenest city in the world. I thank you.
Well, at this point, I want to open up for any questions from the floor. So let's head back to the floor to get some of the burning questions that the attendees have about this year's Durban Virtual July Experience, and of course about the road to recovery of the tourism sector also as a whole.
Good day. You're speaking to Gugu from KZN newspaper. We deal a lot with exposing youth to information on what eThekwini is doing. So I'd just like to know if I'm a youth, for instance, who's interested in joining your program, how do I go about, because now it's obviously late, but for next time, how do I go about it?
Is that my question? Okay. Must I answer here or on the mic? Is the question for me? The fashion program? Okay. So municipality puts out an advert every year around the beginning of the year, basically recruiting applicants. And it runs for a while. I think it runs for almost a month. It's on the social media platform. So Durban Fashion Fair Instagram page. It's on Durban Fashion Fair Facebook page. It's on Twitter as well. And normally all the fashion schools around the city, including my own, we also circulate it. So you would need to apply through Unokpila Makanya or through the PSU office. Or you can reach out to people like myself. Even if I'm not the service provider doing it that year, I can always pass on your information to the BSU unit. So they're on the 6th floor. Does that help?
Okay,
in town, if you want to.
For someone who's far away, internet is not easy, and getting to Durban is very. I'm from Umgaba, but coming to Durban is a lot of money, and I don't always have network. So, if my school is based in Mgaba, how do I then find out about your program? There are schools also in other parts which are close to Durban. I think maybe you'd be interested in bringing those kids closer as well.
As far as I know, it goes out on social media. I mean, I am speaking from a service provider point of view, so my information internally lacks a lot. I think maybe Usis Nonko would be the most perfect person to answer. She's right behind you, because I'm not an employee of municipality. I am a service provider, so I'm not sure if it goes out to the paper. It is an internal answer. She's right behind you wearing green. Yeah, she will tell you exactly where else it goes out. I normally get it from BSU, and I distribute it to all the designers under my database, but she's right behind you drinking water. So I think maybe just ask her, where in the newspapers does it go to? Yes.
Good afternoon. My name is Thabo Makwakwa from the Daily News. I have a question here. It's, well, noting that this year we are not having spectators, do you guys have a plan as to how we're going to be, making this event accessible to the people? Do you have like some centralized places set up for people to go enjoy themselves, and also ensuring that we keep to the COVID-19 regulations? Are they going to be after parties? How are we going to have all of that? Thank you so much.
Okay.
After parties.
All right. Thank you. Okay, maybe just to mention is that at this time, the compliance is non-negotiable to the level at which we are at. Now, in terms of accessibility, my colleague here will answer further. However, it is broadcasted on DSTV. As a result, DSTV is a partner in terms of the horse race itself. And there are certain products that are accredited to actually also have the betting stations if you want to actually bet, and those products are in the townships. I know that at Umlazi, last year we had 2 products there. It was Max's Lifestyle and Ayadini, which were actually accredited for the betting station, so that besides just seeing it on the screen, you could actually also bet and people win, you know, just like they would be doing if it was in Gravel Race Course. And then, so I think in due course, the new products will be announced in terms of which other products that people can actually go to access, because it's like almost half a day event, so people can actually alternate and, you know, managing this overcrowding. And then you asked about after parties. I think naturally at this time, we would not say we have after parties per se, because we've got curfew, but that is why we are encouraging, or we are announcing that the pop-up, you know, experience, which would be, you know, a day event, and just hitting onto the early evening so that we are able to comply with the COVID regulations. So the different products within the different regions, which are actually listed on our website and our social media platforms, they'll be listed in terms of pointing people out to say this is where, you know, people can actually go to, because the many lounges that we have in and around Durban, they have indicated, and some are still indicating, that they will be housing, you know, different people for the experience in terms of dressing up, entertainment, as well as, you know, having access to the screens, including this venue that we are at right now. So that is actually what will be happening. So a lot of it is, you know, more satellite than virtual, but what is important as a destination, and all of us as travelers and people of Durban, South Africa, we need to just make sure that all that we do is to explore within the COVID regulations.
Okay, my last question is directed to the city. Mayor Kaunda, I would like to know as to how much did the city invest in this project, or, you know, to ensure the success of it and supporting it. I understand that the city always, you know, comes forth and support the Durban July event. How much did the city contribute into the success of this event? Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you very much for the question. The city is making huge investment, especially on the mentoring of the youth, on the fashion design, which we are starting to see and reap the fruits out of such investment. And we have also invested a lot in terms of coordinating and marketing all these events, but the specific amount, Winnie will give it to you now.
Thank you, Bab Mayor. As His Worship has alluded, there's different pillars to this program. There's the fashion pillar, and the Durban Fashion Fair, it's not just a one, you know, like a single event program. It's an ongoing program, and it's been here for over years. That includes development, and also to make sure that those businesses within the fashion, they've got access to markets, their skill is actually, you know, enhanced through that intervention, including access to markets. We have an emporium shop at Umlazimeka City in the township, whereby those businesses can put their, you know, garments, and customers can access them, those. So those are the type of investments in relation to the fashion that are happening. Now, to the artist, it's in relation to assisting the artist to get performance platforms, not obviously at a big scale, in a small scale, whereby they are able to get paid obviously a minimum fee rather than a huge mega event performance fee. That also is an investment, you know, from the city. And ever since last year, when COVID happened, we have had like over 120 different artists that have benefited, but there is more that we are actually going to be assisting in that regard. And then in relation to destination promotion, because that is a very important factor, we need to invest to actually bring the visitors into the city, have occupancy, have spend, have visitors, and increase the GDP, and also the PR element. So in terms of the different programs, maybe particularly to the VDJ, is to say with the VDJ, we have invested as the city about, in terms of the partnership, we have invested about 350,000 rand. However, from the PR value that we are getting over 13 million PR value, and the GDP impact, because you will imagine how many people actually would come to the July when there's no COVID, but even now, in terms of what we anticipate.
Apologies for that, Winile. It would have been so fantastic to, of course, be there with you to avoid such technical glitches when they do happen, but it was a human error. We do apologize for that. I must also say that we are coming towards the end of this discussion. We are running out of time, and I just wanted to perhaps give the other speakers just a brief minutes just to deliver their closing remarks and what they want the audience to walk away with. So, Mal, can I assign 1 minute to you just to wrap up the conversation, followed by Stephen, and finally we will hear from Chris, the key sponsor of the VDJ. Mal?
Okay. Thank you, Fifi. We're really excited about what the city is doing, especially with this virtual Durban Vodacom July. What it did last year, and they're doing it again this year, because what it does, it actually positions the city as an events destination, and also that builds confidence from the event organizers, we are able also to generate revenue as businesses around it. So we're very excited about it. We are in support of what they are doing, and maybe my minutes before it ends, I will end there.
Thank you, sir, for being economical with time. Stephen, final thoughts from you?
Thanks, Fifi. Just obviously, we're very excited to be having this event again this year, 125 years uninterrupted. It's a privilege that we're able to host this event again this year at Hollywood Bets Greyville, even in the current circumstances, and to put the programs together that support not only the horse racing industry, but the entertainment industry, the fashion industry. From a horse racing perspective, because this is Africa's greatest horse race, we've got the best horses that are going to be lining up. If you tune into Teletrack, that's DSTV channel 249 on Tuesday at around about 1 o'clock. The final field for this year's Vodacom Durban July will be announced. I guarantee you that our highest rated horse in the country, Rainbow Bridge, who was winner of the Cape Town Met and the recent Hollywood Bets Gold Challenge, he'll be lining up. He'll be our top weight. We'll have last year's winner, Bulgarian. We'll have the second horse last year, who's the current favorite, got the green light, and also the dual winner, Do It Again, and a couple of others, the younger horses in Linebacker and War of Athena, looking to take the crown this year. So from a horse racing perspective, it's all systems go. There's a lot happening on the fashion side, as we alluded to earlier. We have the Gateway Fashion Experience showcase coming up, where viewers will be able to tune into our live stream to watch that. Join the broadcast on race day on the 3rd of July, and just keep in touch with our social media platforms, the Vodacom Durban July social media platforms, and our website for everything that's happening around the event. Thanks, Fifi.
Thank you. Chris, also, just wrap up the discussion for us. Can I tailor your final thoughts? I mean, we heard from a young person in the crowd there, Gugu, talking about the opportunities that young people want to access, and sometimes they don't have the money to go get there. So just as we wrap this up, final thoughts, given that we are coming from Youth Day, of course.
Yeah, Fifi, that young journalist took my mind exactly there, and that was exactly where I was going to focus my closing comments. And if you didn't give me a chance to speak, I was going to ask for it. Yeah, that's a problem. Please, we spent in excess of 500 million in expanding the network of KZN, and specifically in some of what we call the deep rural areas. In addition to that investment a lot of people in the province would know that today KZN boasts some of the highest numbers of 5G connectivity, thanks again to the leadership of the city and the province that we're able to do that. So yeah, I'm busy here on the side trying to put out a mechanism beyond just calling out my own personal email address to find a way to get to getting that information back so we can attend to that, because that's not going to help. And I mean, this year we're going to spend another 500 million in the province of KZN in rolling out connectivity so that we never hear that from a young person. We have our colleague from the fashion school talking about what they're doing to drive this. But it doesn't help any of us, neither the program and neither the vision for the city and the province, if we're going to have people that don't have connectivity. So my job and the team's job, certainly from Vodacom, is to make sure that we put connectivity. Today, our 4G coverage is about 98% of the population of KZN. So if there are gaps, this is the feedback that we want to hear. So Fifi, I'm not sure what is the best mechanism to try and get the information of the names of the reporters and anybody else that can provide that information back to my office. I will personally take it on to provide feedback and ensure that there's a plan to the community and to the leadership of the city that the mayor's office himself can communicate as to what are providers like Vodacom doing to address and enhance the challenges that has been called out.
Chris, I think you used the best mechanism right now by saying that your office is, of course, open to hearing some of those challenges. And to the crowd, I implore you to take advantage of that open office. We don't know when that door will be closed. But we have come to the end of our discussion for today. And I would like to thank all my guests, starting with His Worship, the Mayor, Councillor Mxolisi Kaunda, Winele Mtungwa, the Deputy Head of Durban Tourism, Stephen Marshall, Events and Marketing Executive at Gold Circle, Fezile Mdleche, founder of Fezile Fashion Skills Academy, as well as Mal Ntombele, the Deputy Chair of the Durban Chamber of Commerce, and Chris Lazarus, Managing Executive at Vodacom, who joined us via Zoom. I think the recovery of the entire economy does boil down to how quickly we all get vaccinated. We have had a rocky road to herd immunity so far, and we can only hope that the road ahead is much smoother. So that events, of course, like the Durban July, to which many stakeholders do rely on for income and jobs, can continue in a much better form post the pandemic. I hope to see you guys then. From myself, Fifi Peters, it is goodbye for now.